Hi, my name is Daryl,
And my name is Greg.
and this is Inside the Mastermind. And today, I guess we're going to talk a little about The Matrix. If you're unfamiliar, there's a movie called The Matrix, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you, Greg, so you can explain a little bit more about what we're talking about today. Here.
Okay, so I got a question for the audience. Do you guys think that we're actually plugged into the Matrix? Do you believe the movie was a documentary of our lives? And the reason why I asked that question is if you really go back and watch the movie, yes, it had great special effects and it was a really awesome movie. And when I first seen it, yeah, I watched it strictly for the visual effects. But then I have someone point out to me once that it was actually a documentary to the average U.S. American lives, like the 95% of us. And I was like, I kind of started to scratch my head a bit. But then I kind of just viewed the movie again just to kind of see from that perspective. And when I watched it, it kind of blew my mind a little bit just because, yeah, it's actually a documentary of the average person life in America. Because you always hear that 95% of the population work and they make about 5% of the wealth, where 5% of the people actually make 95% of the wealth. And so then when you watch the movie, it just kind of give you, again, not to get, just kind of give you a quick overview of the movie. So in the beginning of, again, I'm referring to Matrix Part 1, the original. So when you first, the opening scene, I believe, or, in the beginning of the movie, Neo, the main character, remember he was working in the office, a corporate job. He was like working in a cubicle, just like everybody else. He was going through his average day life, but he knew that he wanted something more. He just didn't know what. It was like something turning in the back of his mind, like this can't just be my whole life. He was just thinking about that. So then eventually he met Morpheus, and then Morpheus kind of took him through this journey to unplug him from the Matrix. And when he got unplugged, he kind of realized that the world that we live in is actually artificial. So we're all taught to just live a mundane life, not question anything, just go with the flow in that hamster wheel. And but in reality, the machines took over the world. So when he got unplugged, he saw that the machines were taking over the world, and they were actually using humans as batteries. So they were harvesting humans like in the field, and then because we have like I forget how many gigawatts, like you think Back to the Future, like you got to go 88 miles per hour for to generate so many gigawatts of energy to go through time. But we have whatever the amount of gigawatts we can, and they can use that for I don't know if you fuel like a machine for years or months or something. I don't really exactly anyway. So people were being harvested, and as they would grow, they would get plugged into the matrix. So then, unbeknownst to them, their energy is being just sucked away until they just shrivel up and die, and get replaced with like a younger, cheaper model. And then when you think about it, it's like our world because we're all taught to just go to school, get a good education, get a good job. Now again, there's nothing wrong with school. I'm not knocking school. So I mean, I went to school myself and got a bachelor's degree, but when you really think about it, most people can afford school. So when they go to school, they get into debts, and then when they get out of school, they gotta go back other people for their money, aka a job. And if you don't know what job stands for, it stands for just over broke, JOB, just over broke. So you're taught to get a job and go work for other people for 40. You cite the 40-40-40 plan. Work for someone else 40 years of your life for 40 hours a week, and you live off 40% of your income. So the 40-40-40 plan. And again, Neo was doing that, so he just knew that this can't just be his whole life. And then for me as well, I had an awakening a couple of years ago. Like, yeah, I was going through that average life that we're all taught to go through. And then I just stopped one day, like, I paid a bill, and it felt, and I was feeling good. I was feeling good that I had all my bills paid. And then I feel like paid to say, I'm just giving an example. Let's say I paid a water bill. And it feels like I'm exaggerating a bit, but like the next day I got a notification that, hey, your water bill's due. Like, okay, you pay it, you get a notification again, hey, your water bill's due. And one day it just hit me like, this can't be my whole life. Like I make just enough money to kind of cover my bills, but I need to go back to work, make it again, go back to pay bills, and that's like your whole life. But you have to ask for your permission for your own time back, which you're an adult and you got to ask that I go to the restroom, when to sleep, when to eat, when to wake up, when to leave your house. And it's crazy how most people think like, hey, yeah, I'm going on vacation. Like for how long? Like 3 days. Like that's not a vacation. That's just taking some time off. Like a vacation is minimum like 2 weeks. That's minimum 2 weeks to like 2-3 months in my opinion. And then but when you take time off of work, you're taught to say, hey, I'm going on a vacation, but you only get so limited amount of your time back. And when you really look at it, it takes 26 years for you to get 1 year of your life back because there's 52 weeks in a year. Yeah, and this is just the average person. He's about 2 weeks off a year. I know some people get maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, which doesn't even matter. But if you do that math, like 52 weeks, 2 weeks off a year, going 52 times is 26. So it's 26 years to equate to 1 year of your life back that you get of your own time. And again, for a lot of people, they kind of wake up and realize that that's just not how it's supposed to be. Some people just sort of deeply plugged into the matrix that They think that's the way you're supposed to live, and live the American dream and get a white picket fence with 2.5 kids and live happily ever after and go work for somebody else in a big corporate job. And yeah, I don't know, but yeah, so the Matrix, when he got unplugged, he saw that people were being harvested as batteries. Their energies were being used to fuel the machines. And the purpose of the ages were to keep people in the Matrix. They didn't want anyone to ask questions or challenge the status quo. So they were like fighting the agents to help just unplug the world. But that's pretty much, what the movie was about, is speak the average person's life and how we all have greatness in us. I believe we're all put on this earth for greatness. I don't think we're all made to just go to work and work in a cubicle for our whole lives and then just die. We are all meant to just challenge ourselves, get our comfort zone, to create greatness for other people and help serve humanity, so we can all become, these better beings and better people, and just evolve in that way.
Yeah. I mean, if I could just jump in for those of you watching, if you haven't seen The Matrix, the entire plot, we just spoiled it for you. But that being said, yeah, I mean, as far as the world that we live in right now, it seems, for me, it seems that there was slavery a couple hundred years ago, 150 years ago or so in the United States, and it's kind of become, I think it's just evolved here. You had slavery, you had sharecropping, and now you have corporate life, which to a lot of people kind of feels a little bit like a form of slavery, and to a certain degree. And I mean, I think we both have our day jobs. So, like, no offense to the day jobs, but appreciate the income that it brings. I appreciate that you got to have appreciation and gratitude for being able to pay your bills on time, because that's important, right? But at the same time, you probably are feeling at some point in your life like, hey, was meant to do something a little bit greater. And if you're in a position where you just cut, I guess the best case scenario is if you're in a position or a role where you feel like every day you go to work, it's you're just kind of having fun, and there's a bonus and a benefit to it. And honestly, my current day job is kind of like that right now, because I just really enjoy what I do at the current day job. So I can see myself staying there for a little bit, but that's a whole nother story. But if you don't feel that way, if it's kind of a dread and if it's just annoying for you to wake up on Monday and you're just annoyed about it, then yeah, you probably want to go ahead and look for something deeper, look for something that kind of really speaks to you, that like really makes your heart sing, that you really enjoy doing. I don't know. What do you think about that, Greg? Are we kind of maybe talking career and like how that affects your life there at this point?
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, if you enjoy what you're doing, then it doesn't feel like work. However, me personally, I feel that even to say you are like in a great corporate job, because I have a corporate job right now, and I like what I do. Like, it pays the bills, and I work with great people. But also, I do believe that everyone should be like an owner of something, or have some type of asset that they have. Even if they love their job, they never want to quit, you still should have something else that you have that's generating income, not just rely on that one source of income. Because I guarantee, even you there, I'm pretty sure you've heard other people where they love their job, they've been there 20, 30 years, and then a change happened, they get bought out, and then their position is gone immediately. And they have like nothing to fall back on because they relied so much on that one source. Now they're like stressing out, and they don't know what to do because they put their whole life into that one, area. Where if you have multiple other areas, things going on, even if you like that, you can fall back on something. You want, okay, wow, this was a great run, I enjoyed it. Now it's time for me to move on to the next chapter and be okay with that, versus stressing and going and get unemployment. It's just like this is how I feel. Also, I do also, again, it's me personally. I kind of wish or feel that, again, not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. I know we're on an entrepreneurial journey, but I feel that most people should maybe work for someone else between the age of 18 to 25, maybe 30, somewhere in that range. And then once you reach maybe 30, okay, now I have enough experience and I've developed my people skills where I can go and start my own business. And then when you do that, now you open the door for the next round, because as people leave, all these positions will be open again. We do need people to work and have employment. So now the next round can come and learn. And I feel like it should be a cycle. So they become entrepreneurs, the next round come, take their positions, learn, become entrepreneurs, just kind of keep that cycle. That's just how I was thinking. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. That would be a good way to do things, for most people. Again, it's not 100%, but yeah, that's just how I feel.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that, and I think I think that's where the world is going, right? I mean, as far as entrepreneurship and stuff is no longer, I know entrepreneurship is no longer seen as just kind of a like catchphrase for being unemployed, which I think it used to be back in maybe the 80s, 70s, and before. Like saying you're an entrepreneur was just like a little bit like, who does that? Like you get a good corporate job, you like work 50 years, and then you get your gold watch, and then you retire and die 5 years later. That was kind of the mindset there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's what it comes down to, is kind of free yourself from the matrix zone, just kind of be tied into living a life that is just repetitive and kind of boring, and not really doing something that makes your heart sing, per se. And I think that maybe is a good place to stop there. But you go ahead and let me know if you have any final thoughts, Greg.
Yeah, I would say, we can talk about this probably for hours at a time, because it just keeps more and more, you start to think about more and more things. So yeah, this would be a good place to stop, because it's probably could be like an hour-long video. But yeah, I just believe that we're all put on this earth for greatness, and we're put on this earth for, we're set up for, we're meant for greatness, but we're kind of set up for failure just in our society. And kind of what you mentioned, where people will say that, hey, why would you want to be an entrepreneur? You have this great, safe job. Why would you want to leave that and take a risk at something else? And it all goes back to, John D. Rockefeller, the Fords and all those guys back in like the 20s and stuff. Because when you think about Johnny Rockefeller, I believe he was one of the first billionaires, the railroad industry. So he said, maybe, and during that time, most people were kind of like entrepreneurial minded. Then he developed like the trader school systems where, hey, I want people to learn this one task, lay down these railroad tracks, and go to school to learn that. And that's all that you do. And then, you don't ask questions, just do a job, and then you do that. So then that's the society that we live in now. So, and I think he had a quote that he says he wants a nation of workers and not a nation of thinkers. And then when you really think about it, that's how we are. Because even Earl Nightingale said that if you were to ask most people what's on their mind or what are they thinking about, most people would be silent, because most people don't think. And some people may get offended with that, but when you really break it down, it makes sense. Because if you complain about your job, or you want a better situation, or you want to be financially free, you can do it. You just have to set your mind to it and actually work on a plan to get there. But most people don't do that. So they don't really use their mind and really think. We're all distracted with technology and Facebooks and Instagrams and stuff for the most part. Nothing's wrong with those, because we all use them, but it's a balance, I believe. So yeah, that's the last thing I'll say with that about that.
Okay. And I don't know if that was the quote, or do you have a quote that you wanted to add, or anything that, just let me know.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the quote actually was by Morpheus from the movie The Matrix. And he says, I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door, and you're the one that has to walk through it.
All right. Yeah. Great quote, great topic. At this point, I just want to go ahead and throw out, like, we're kind of wrapping up at this point, but I want to throw out the thought that if you are looking for inspiration, looking for motivation, and looking for ways to start, I'd say go ahead and check out Gregg's blog. It's called planetgreenzen.com. He not only has a blog there, but he also has some products that might be helpful and beneficial to your journey, towards greatness, towards whatever goal it is that you're looking for right now, and kind of go forward from there. So I'll throw that out.
Thank you, Darrell. And also, if you guys are looking to actually join this mastermind group and connect with like-minded people like us, and have someone help keep you accountable, go ahead and connect with Darrell. The link will be in the description below. He's accepting applications for this mastermind group. So yeah, if you're interested, think you got what it takes to join the mastermind and actually be serious and be held accountable, and actually commit to weekly calls 2 times a week or so, definitely check it out, and Darrell will let you know what the next step will be.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Greg, for that. With that, that's going to be it for Inside the Mastermind. If you enjoyed this this episode, then definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel, or subscribe if you're hearing this in podcast form at some place in the future. Go ahead and subscribe to a podcast. If you did not like it, did not enjoy it, please go ahead and reach out to us, and there will be ways to reach out and let us know what we can do to improve, because that's what we're trying to do. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Thank you for joining us on Inside the Mastermind, and have a great week.
Bye, guys.
All right.